I want to go to a place that wants to win. I'm a fierce competitor. I don't think of plan B. Stay in plan A. When things don't work out, find a way to make plan A work.
I'm going to take Caleb Williams. Caleb could be great.
I just want to go to the best situation. If that's the first pick, if that's the 32nd pick, something that as a kid that I dreamt about.
Jaden Daniels, when his team needed him, he rose to the occasion.
Just a competitor, just guy who likes to compete. Loves the ball, like a goes, we're going to go in there and work on it.
Drake May has all the good to be a 10-year starter.
Tough, gritty guy who only cares about winning at the end of the day. Loves the game of football with a burning passion. Pretty much everything you'd want in a starting quarterback.
Welcome to this SportsCenter special presented by Nationwide. 9 days away from the NFL draft in Detroit, a draft that is headlined by the quarterbacks. And big questions remain, though. How many will hear their name on night one? And which teams could be making a move up to change the face of their franchise? Here's how our Mel Kiper Jr. has these quarterbacks ranked. Caleb Williams at the top of his quarterback list and his overall list, followed immediately by Jaden Daniels at number 2. Drake May comes in at 3rd at quarterback, 6th overall on the big board, and J.J. McCarthy is his 4th signal caller, coming in 14th on Mel Kiper's big board. And with that, we got you covered for the next hour at Field Yates, Jordan Reed, and the draft guru, that is Mel Kiper Jr. I'm Kevin Nagani. Adam Schefter will join us shortly with the latest buzz around the league as teams finalize their draft boards. But Mel, let's start with the quarterbacks. Let's get to number 1, and that is Caleb Williams. What does your scouting report say about the 2022 Heisman winner?
Yeah, we thought back in August it would be Drake May challenging Caleb Williams, right? Well, you fast forward, it was Jaden Daniels challenging, but not overtaking Caleb Williams. Why? Because 2022 was great. 2023, really good early, not so good late, but he had a bad offensive line. Overall, the last 3 years, 120 touchdowns, 14 picks only. 27 of those 120 were rushing touchdowns. Guess what? That's tied with Jaden Daniels over that 3-year period. He is a dual-threat quarterback. He is great outside the pocket. 31 touchdowns, only 4 picks in his career. Doesn't take sacks outside the pocket. And he was really good in the 4th quarter. Now, when you think about where we are right now, I'll call him creative. The creator. I don't think he's the master creator. That's Patrick Mahomes. Could he be? Maybe. He's just very creative, and he's really good. That's why Caleb Williams is number 1 overall on the big board, and certainly the number 1 quarterback.
And we have often heard, we're not saying he is Patrick Mahomes, we have often heard comparisons here to Patrick Mahomes as that creator of field. When you watch the tape, which games stand out?
Yeah, by the way, Kevin, one of the first rules of NFL draft analysis, we don't cop anybody to Patrick Mahomes. No longer allowed in this universe. Well, let's talk about Caleb Williams early in the season, because Mel mentioned that things started to get a little bit hairier for that entire USC offense. I thought Nevada, which is the second game he played this past season, was just an outstanding, everything you could want to see out of Caleb Williams' game. I get it, this is not a powerhouse of the former Pac-12, but he had 5 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. You saw that long scamper right there. That was a 46-yard run. He had 42 total rushing yards in that game. The accuracy, the innovation, all the things that Caleb Williams can do both on and off schedule really shine through, albeit against a lesser opponent. But that USC offensive line and some of the supporting cast kind of went downhill during the second half of the season. So early on when they were fully formed, we saw the best version of Caleb Williams.
Well, we're already presuming that Caleb Williams is going to be the number 1 overall pick, and I agree. We're talking about a player that has similar shades to Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and I know Mel's going to be upset at me. We're making all these different comps for all these star players, but he has a lot of traits that we're seeing some of these star quarterbacks have in the league. Caleb Williams is my number 2 overall player on my big board. He's without question top quarterback in this draft class. You go back to the 2022 Heisman season, he showed everything that you needed to see from inside the pocket, outside the pocket. We know he has an outstanding ability to create. What have we seen from some of the top quarterbacks in the nation and then also in the league, of course? They have the ability to create outside of structure. That definitely raises the floor of what he can be. And then we're talking about an astronomical ceiling with Caleb Williams as well.
Okay, no one is a finished product entering the draft. Mel, if you had to pick something that Williams needs to work on, what is it?
ball security. I think it's not certainly turning it over with interceptions, but it's like Josh Allen. Josh Allen was a little reckless early on, right? And Josh learned you can't be that way. And certainly turnover, 33 fumbles, 16 this year. It was a bad offensive line at USC. You see him reckless there, loaf for bread. Can't have that in the NFL. These guys are going to strip and they're going to cause turnovers. So bottom line is be more, basically take care of the football. Don't get sloppy. Don't get reckless. And that will prevent Caleb Williams from turning it over and prevent him from being a disappointing quarterback in the NFL. He'll learn from his mistakes just like Josh did. He'll be fine, but he's got to clean that up.
Yeah, I agree with Mel. He has to clean up the ball security, but that's part of the intrigue with Caleb. I know ball security has been a big question mark with him. But Chicago, get ready to embrace the chaos with Caleb Williams just because there's going to be a lot of no, great throw moments with him just because it's so exciting with this off-script creativity ability. He can make plays from inside the pocket, but where he is the differentiator in this draft class from the other quarterbacks is his ability to create outside of structure. We've seen the miraculous plays through his sophomore and then also last season as a junior. I thought he continued to get better in different phases of his game. But once again, Chicago embraced the chaos with Caleb Williams just because there's going to be a lot of wow moments that come with some of those inconsistent ball security moments with him.
I'm not doing a comp. Here. But when you see a quarterback, specifically in the NFL, and you go, no. Oh, yeah. That's Patrick Mahomes.
You did it, Kevin.
That is Patrick Mahomes. And we will see that type of energy in the pocket, running around. Of course, we will see how this plays out. When the Bears are on the clock next Thursday night. All right, now, feels like any other year, guys, we will be talking about another Heisman winner going #1. Because as you take a look here in Mel Kiper's big board, the ranks, Jaden Daniels sitting right there at #2. Our quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, takes you inside Daniels' game.
2023 Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels had 40 touchdown passes with only 4 interceptions last season, and he has a pure stroke that should translate well to the NFL. Daniels was the best quarterback throwing from the pocket, leading the FBS in touchdown passes and yards per attempt on those throws. In his last 3 games at LSU, he had 11 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions from inside the pocket. He has pinpoint accuracy, and that was especially evident with the deep ball. Daniels completed 67% of his passes, throwing 20 or more yards in 2023. That's the highest by any FBS quarterback in the last 10 seasons. Beyond the elite passing numbers, Daniels can also beat defenses with his legs. He's especially dangerous when he improvises, and no player had more yards on scrambles last year. He averaged nearly 13 yards per rush when he scrambled during his Heisman season. Jaden Daniels' dual threat ability can make him one of the top quarterbacks in the entire NFL.
Now, keep this in mind. The Texans struck big at #2 with C.J. Stroud a year ago. Dan has been very clear in this pre-draft process, dating back to February. He thinks Daniels should go #1 overall. We know that's most likely not going to happen, but let's get into the Daniels topic here as the Commanders will be on the clock at #2. Jordan, Daniels is #3, though, on your quarterback hot board. Why?
Yes, and we have to remember, we're splitting hairs with both of these quarterbacks. I have Jaden Daniels as my #6 overall player, while Drake May is my #3 overall player. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of these quarterbacks at the top of the draft. But when I'm looking at the totality of both of their resumes, if you're looking for a player to come in right now and light the league on fire, Jaden Daniels is without question the better player. And I look at the Washington Commanders, and I'm looking at what Dan Quinn and Adam Peters have done this offseason, adding players like Bobby Wagner and a lot of other veterans where they're trying to establish a foundation. They're trying to win right away. And I think Jaden Daniels is going to be that better player right away. But when I'm looking long-term, I think Drake May is going to be the better player.
Yeah, Jordan, I think the improvement that Jaden showed, just like Joe Burrow did from year 1 to year 2, was amazing. Keeping your eyes up, head up when you're getting pressure, and certainly managing the game, yet being aggressive. That's what impressed me. And he's nothing but impressive as a dual-threat quarterback. But to take chances with your arm and run as well as he does, okay, and dominate Alabama over a 2-year period. Nick Saban's defense had no answer, yet not turning it over. That striking that balance. Aggressive arm and legs, yet not throwing interceptions and not fumbling the ball away. He was amazing at doing that. That's why Jaden Daniels is #2 overall on my big board, and right behind Caleb Williams is the #2 overall quarterback. that dual threat ability, but the improvement he showed, I think, and seeing the field better when he's on the move, when he's pressured, was the difference in me going from that third, fourth round pick that we thought back in August all the way up to the second pick overall, possibly.
Yeah, Kevin, I also have Jaden Daniels as my second-rated quarterback and second-rated player overall, which means that Jordan Reed's new address is Drake May Island, baby, as he is a one-man Drake May defender for the second quarterback. By the way, a totally defensible case there from Jordan Reed. I will say this, though, as we all believe now that Jaden Daniels is likely to go to the Washington Commanders, some people have asked me time and time again, how do each of these quarterbacks fit the respective offenses that we might be projecting them to land with? And Kevin, I think part of the responsibility for a team when they take a quarterback as high as these guys are going to go is, how do you fit your offense to what this player does best? And maybe some of the dual threat ability from Jaden Daniels reminds Cliff Kingsbury, the new offensive coordinator in Washington, a little bit of Kyler Murray. I think Jaden's a more explosive runner than Kyler, but let's not forget, a few years ago, Kyler Murray was the NFL MVP frontrunner 11 games into the season when the Cardinals were 11-0, in part because of the fact that teams both couldn't stop him in terms of throwing the football and they couldn't catch up with him in the running game. So I am Cliff Kingsbury. There are very different ways that you can tap into the rushing ability of Jaden Daniels, but make no mistake about it, he is as tantalizing of a running quarterback as we have seen in the draft probably since Lamar Jackson, or maybe Justin Fields back in that 2021 class. Both guys who have 1,000-yard rushing seasons on their resumes.
Daniels racked up, by the way, nearly 5,000 yards of total offense, third most in the SEC. When you look at that history behind Joe Burrow and Johnny Manziel, and that tape that we just showed, more than half of his touchdowns came on 20-yard passes without a single interception on those throws. So the deep ball is there, that accuracy. And, of course, Washington could potentially be getting a special player at number 2. We'll find out Thursday. Coming up, we're breaking out the quarterback matchmaker touchscreen. Could J.J. McCarthy still be available for the Vikings at 11, or do they need to make a move up to get him? Plus, the best in the business, NFL insider Adam Schefter joining us. He'll break down all the quarterback dominoes, including if Drake May is a fit in New England at number 3. That's next. This SportsCenter special is presented by Nationwide.
From the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, the Ego zero-turn riding mower with E-Steer technology drives like a car, turns on a dime, delivering ultimate control with the precision of a steering wheel. It's weather-resistant, and with 22 horsepower, it cuts up to 2.5 acres on a single charge. Powered by Ego's patented 56-volt arc lithium battery technology, the same batteries used on all Ego tools, exclusively at Lowe's, Ace, and Ego authorized dealers.
Blue Chew is offering their first month free so that you can try it out with basically no risk at all. It's Blue Chew. Blue Chew. Blue Chew? Blue Chew. Blue Chew. Blue Chew. Blue Chew. Blue Chew. Blue Chew, baby! What are you doing? Just go ahead and get your first month free. And then tell me about it later. Come back and just let me know how it went. Because I'm curious. Okay?
When you think work, you think boots. You think boots, you think ending the day with the same number of toes you started with. Because you're thinking heavy equipment. You think heavy equipment, you think construction. You think construction, you think welding, torching, and hammering without the smashing, puncturing, and scorching. Now you're thinking on your feet. When you think feet, you're thinking boots. You think boots, you're thinking Ariat.
The Atlanta Braves know what it takes to win, and so do I. That's why if you're hurt and winning is your only option, get the Strong Arm. Proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships today on ESPN2 and ESPN+.
Oh my goodness!
For the love of football, for the love of La Liga.
Geico makes car insurance easy as reinventing yourself after a haircut.
Hello, hello, hello. Is that my third grade teacher? Hey, Miss J. I've changed. I have bangs now. Oh, I just got a haircut too. Neat. Well, what you got?
With 24/7 claim support, it's easy to Geico.
Are you kidding me? Who's next? Hello?
Follow your passion with Courtyard by Marriott.
Businesses go further with 5G solutions. That's why they choose T-Mobile for Business. PGA of America and T-Mobile are partnering on 5G-powered analytics to help improve player performance. T-Mobile's network helps AAA stay connected nationwide to get their members back on the road. And Las Vegas Grand Prix chose T-Mobile to help fuel operations for one of the world's largest racing events. Now is the time to see what America's largest 5G network can do for your business.
That's everything.
My dad, Mark, grew up in Charlotte, went on to play quarterback in North Carolina. That's where he met my mom. We're North Carolina people. They had 4 boys, and I happen to be the youngest. My oldest brother, Luke, played basketball in North Carolina. I won national championship. My oldest brother after Luke is Cole. Cole was, baseball player at Florida. He won national championship as well. And then Bo, he walked on the team in basketball in North Carolina. 3 of my best friends. All we do is, play ball and, anything that's competitive.
Ooh, there it is.
I think, being the youngest of the bunch was probably the best thing for me. My brothers, I think, kind of instilled into me kind of just toughness. From then on, just kind of carried that with me and kind of took no crap.
Starting early! Starting early!
Just want to thank them for all support. Love y'all.
On the SportsCenter special focusing on the quarterbacks, and Drake May's no stranger to competition. Mel, take us through your scouting report on May.
Expectations in August were through the roof. He had 21 years of age, coming off a great year in 2022, and he lost his top receiver, Josh Downs, lost his coordinator, right? Moved on, and all of a sudden, things started to go right late in the year. Tez Walker wasn't there early. Tez Walker came in later in the year, midway through, and 4 games you could really point to, really, where there's some inconsistencies. He wasn't bad the whole game, but he had some misfires. He had some open receivers. He did not hit accurately with those throws. And the bottom line is, I think when you look at Drake May, he needs a little bit of time. But the loyalty he showed to Mac Brown in this Tar Heel program, we talked about the athletic family, the ties to North Carolina, he's a Tar Heel through and through. He's still young. He's still learning and improving. He needs to sit for a year. But if you handle Drake May properly, the talent is in abundance. You just have to work through some things, improve his accuracy, his precise passing. If he does that, he can be a heck of a quarterback in the NFL.
NFL insider Adam Schefter joining us now on the program. Schefter, what are you hearing about May as the 3rd quarterback off the board?
Well, Kevin, assuming that Caleb Williams goes 1, which he will, and assuming that Jaden Daniels goes 2, and that's still a question, but there are signs pointing in that direction. Drake May, I think, does shape up as the 3rd quarterback in this particular draft. Now, the question is whether New England would stay there, go ahead and make that pick, or whether the Patriots would consider and entertain any trade offers that come their way. They have gotten plenty of calls. I'm sure they'll get more calls as the draft gets closer. And again, there's speculation, and I emphasize speculation out there, that the Vikings really like Drake May, and that would be a quarterback that would appeal to them. You remember, the Vikings' new quarterbacks coach, Josh McCown, coached Drake May in high school. They're looking for a mobile quarterback. They brought in Sam Darnold, who they could play this year while they groom Drake May. That would make some sense. Again, the Vikings have been connected to J.J. McCarthy as well. Clearly, the Vikings would like to move up from number 11 in the first round if they could. Would it be for Drake May? Would it be for J.J. McCarthy? That is the question, but there's a lot of speculation surrounding that. But it certainly seems like Drake May stacks up right now
as the third quarterback in this draft.
And Kevin, I've been consistent with this for quite some time now. There is no consolation prize for the New England Patriots if they decide to go with a quarterback at number 3 out of the 3 that we have talked about the most. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May. You choose the order. It sounds like there's a chance that will be the order come draft night. Is Drake May a perfect prospect? No, none of them are. But let's talk about some of the things that he brings to the table on top of what Mel talked about. 6'4", 230 pounds. This guy was built in quarterback factory. Incredible arm strength, which you think that matters for a New England team that seemingly plays half of its schedule in rain, snow, or heavy winds? It certainly does. And there were some games this past season. Yes, I understand it left you wanting more, but 4 touchdowns against Miami, no picks, and against a team that's going to have probably 2, 3, 4, 5 guys drafted from that defensive side of the ball in Miami. I get it. It wasn't perfect for Drake May, but he just turned 21 years old, and as a redshirt freshman in 2022, the guy was the ACC Player of the Year, took home all the major hardware. It requires a bit of patience, but the upside for Drake May is immense.
Yeah, there's no question. The upside is immense, but the footwork and the decision-making have to get better. I look at games like NC State, Clemson. There's plenty of others of where he just did not play up to par. Mel hit the nail on the head as far as there was a lot of expectation for Drake May coming into the year. He was the presumed number 2 guy coming to the season after Caleb Williams, and there were even some rumors that he could potentially be the top guy in this draft class, but it just did not unfold that way this year, and there were some concerns as far as from a footwork, processing, and decision-making standpoint of where it does need to get better with Drake May. But as the lone member of the Drake May bandwagon, always remember, guys, we're in the middle of spring. April showers bring May flowers.
You said on that one, Jordan, and I do appreciate that. You can take some looks here, specifically being on this island as the number 2 quarterback on your hot board, and you're the only guy in this discussion that has him at number 2 ahead of Jaden Daniels, that you can see some flaws there. But again, like as Adam Schefter talked about, if he gets with the right system, Mel is talking about gets with the right system, Phil is talking about, and he has that talent, he has the size, he looks like he just stepped off the bus and he's the leading quarterback of a franchise. We will see, of course, if New England does go with May at number 3 overall. May is mobile as anybody else. 128 scrambles over the last 2 seasons, the most among FBS quarterbacks. Wow. And still to come, we're going to take you inside to another quarterback, and that is J.J. McCarthy's interesting pregame ritual and why teams may need to trade up to land the national champ. Our own Michigan man, that is Adam Schefter, weighs in too. You're watching this SportsCenter special presented by Nationwide.
Geico makes car insurance easy as reinventing yourself after a haircut.
Hello, hello, hello. Is that my 3rd grade teacher? Finish, Jay. I've changed. I have bangs now. Oh, I just got a haircut too. Neat. What you got?
With 24/7 claim support, it's easy to Geico.
Are you kidding me? Who's next? Hello?
Follow your passion with Courtyard by Marriott.
That's everything.
It's everything.
Everything. Not everything.
The Hyundai Palisade. With advanced tech and award-winning safety. There's joy in every journey. Lease a 2024 Palisade for $299 a month, or get 3.99% APR or $1,250 bonus cash. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Hi, this is Quentin. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, crispy, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu. They're the star of the show. Matter of fact, they're the main event. Especially when you add in that Chick-fil-A sauce. Always the perfect combination. And then personally, you know me, I'm getting a 4 count. I want as much chicken as possible. I'm that guy. Whenever I get them, whether it be lunch or for dinner, in my household, is always a winner.
Real customer paid for their testimonial.
Good day, sir.
Oh, wait. You like Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
waiting on the cable internet guy.
First, I had cable, but those cords weren't me.
So he switched to T-Mobile home internet with 5G. What a feeling! I have Wi-Fi now. I need home internet from T-Mobile to fulfill my.
Get home internet from T-Mobile now, just $50 a month.
Lowe's knows every color is the right color if it's from the brands you trust. Whether you need paint or stain, get our best deals of the season like buy two, get one free. For projects big to small, we've got it all, so you can paint it all. Hurry in and shop paint deals now at Lowe's.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
Cap, can I get a response to the trade rumors?
Trade. Trades means moving, man. We talking about moving? Moving means contractors, inspectors, strangers judging my carpet. What we talking about? Staging? We talking about a faux ficus. A faux ficus. Nobody's gonna bring a faux ficus into my house.
You could use Open Door. Sell your house directly to them.
Easy. I guess we're moving.
Cap.
What you gonna ask me about next, man? Practice?
Target Circle is free to join. And you get deals automatically?
Automatic. Hey, you want to see a trick? Sometimes I eat the barcode stickers. Love my job.
Where grace meets grit.
Championship is going to go down right now.
And perfection is an art. The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship semifinals today on ESPN2 and ESPN+.
When you think work, you think boots. You think boots, you think ending the day with the same number of toes you started with. Because you're thinking heavy equipment.
What I do before the game is a 30-minute meditation, focusing on the inhale and the exhale. All that's doing is training me to be in the present moment. I started this my senior year in high school. Being an athlete that is aspiring to be as great as he can be, you go through some battles mentally, and you want to be fresh every single day. Once I started, stayed disciplined with it, I realized why it was so powerful. What I listen to when I meditate are these certain frequencies, that help tune the certain type of consciousness that I want to set myself up for. Everything's a vibration. After that, I just play Bob Marley. I'd say my favorite Bob Marley song's got to be Johnny. It's something that, gets me in the right state of being, that just sets me up for, complete response to every situation that I'm going to face on the field, and come from a calm center that, helps me perform at my best.
Love everything about that and how he's speaking out, because as somebody who meditates every day, it is extremely helpful for JJ to speak out. Speaking of meditation, I hear that our NFL draft guru, Mel Kiper Jr., meditates before each scouting report. So what does it say about JJ McCarthy?
Unlike JJ, it hadn't helped me. My head's still spinning, Kev. I can't figure JJ McCarthy out. I really can't. I'm glad JJ gets it. Jonathan James gets it. I don't. I haven't been able to think. He's one of the hardest quarterbacks for me ever to evaluate and put a ranking, a grade on. I got him up to 14, 15 area. I kept waiting for that wow moment. It's not his fault. It's what Jim Harbaugh wanted to do. They had an offensive line with 8, 9 deep. They had the running game. They had it all going. He only threw 34 passes in the fourth quarter. Michael Penix Jr. threw 105 passes in the fourth quarter. So he didn't need to carry this football team. So again, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm still waiting for that moment to define him as a top 5 quarterback. It never happened. No fault of him. It's just the way it was. And he was 27-1 as a starter. So I like him. I can't say I love him, but I said the same thing about Jim Harbaugh when he came out. His coach and Jim turned out to be a solid starting quarterback in the NFL. I think JJ will be just like Jim Harbaugh. Very solid, effective. Whether it'll be great or not, that's the debate.
Yeah, who can unlock his potential? A lot of potential landing spots here for McCarthy and all these first-round quarterbacks. For much more on that, we bring in our research producer, Evan Kaplan, to take a deeper look at our nationwide draft night drills.
All right, guys, really cool thing that we developed here. First-round QB Matchmaker takes our analytics team and draft day predictor, along with scheme fits and grades from Jordan Reed and Matt Miller. Let's start with Drake May on the Patriots, like you guys talked about. A 67% chance that he is available when New England's on the clock at number 3 overall. If he went to that pick, it would only be the 4th time in the common draft era that QBs go 1, 2, and 3. Now, those might be the top 3 that we've talked about, but let's go to J.J. McCarthy, who has gotten a ton of buzz throughout this process in Field and Mel's mock drafts. You see here, 83% chance that he's available at the 3rd pick, but only 12% chance he's taken, right? So let's go down to the Vikings, a team with head coach Kevin O'Connell, a ton of skill position players. Feels like a really good fit for McCarthy. But look at this, only a 10% chance that he's there at number 11 overall, which means, as Mel and Field have shown you in their mocks, the Vikings are probably going to have to move up in order to get McCarthy. Talking about that 5 range with the Chargers, 6 range with the Giants. So let's change this from 11 up to 6, and you see how that chance available now increases to 61%. We went from 10 all the way up to 61, 31% chance that he's taken at the 6th pick. Don't worry about it being the Giants. It's at the 6th overall pick, and that's a very good chance that McCarthy could end up at 6 overall. So that's Drake May. That's J.J. McCarthy. You guys can go to ESPN.com for the complete interactive QB matchmaker article.
Evan, thank you so much. Good stuff right there. He's the most polarizing name here in this draft. Chef, do you see that with only a 10% chance McCarthy is still available at number 11? What are you hearing about a potential trade up for him?
Listen, I think that you look at the group of teams at 11, 12, and 13. You've got the Minnesota Vikings at 11, the Denver Broncos at 12, the Las Vegas Raiders at 13. All 3 have quarterback questions, not to mention the Giants at 6, where there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not they would take a quarterback that high. So if we assume that there are 3 quarterbacks that go with the first 3 picks, there then leaves 4 teams for 3 quarterbacks, not to mention all the other teams that have some interest in a quarterback, like maybe the Los Angeles Rams, maybe the Seattle Seahawks, maybe even still the Atlanta Falcons, despite the fact that they signed Kirk Cousins this offseason. So there still are a group of other teams, but there's a finite supply of them. The Vikings are best positioned to move up to J.J. McCarthy. Now, they could sit there. They could sit there at 11 and see if somehow, some way, he makes his way to them. But if they don't want to risk that and they don't want to get jumped by another team behind them for J.J. McCarthy, they're going to have to then trade up to either 4, Arizona, 5, Los Angeles, or another team, maybe again, before the Giants have their pick at 6, and the Giants have done a private workout with J.J. McCarthy, have had him to New York to visit with him and have dinner with him. They spend a lot of time with him. They say that they have other needs, but their actions tell you another story because they put an awful lot of work into quarterbacks here.
Yeah, Shefty just highlighted something that I think is important as we discuss how or why J.J. McCarthy could go in the first 4, maybe even 6 picks in the 2024 NFL Draft, given the limited sample size that Mel referenced relative to these other top signal callers. I think the pre-draft process after Michigan's national championship game up until right now has been very, very favorable to J.J. McCarthy, Kevin, because the reality is no matter how much tape all of us study and no matter how hard we work to get as much information on these prospects as we can, those private meetings, those private workouts, those dinners, when you're talking about the possibility of this player becoming your franchise quarterback can go a long way in securing a player's draft stock. And I think the NFL has had, from everybody that I've spoken to, a very favorable opinion about the football character of J.J. McCarthy, which when you pair that or put that on top of what you saw on film, even if it is a smaller sample size, in the eyes of the NFL equates to a player who merits a pick somewhere in the first 6 selections, and I would be surprised if it's any lower than pick 10 overall.
Yeah, Phil, you make a lot of great points. And I just got off the Pro Day circuit about 2 weeks ago, and I asked a lot of scouts and executives that have been in these private meetings and in these private workouts, who has been the most impressive player in them? And a lot of them, in the overwhelming opinion, was J.J. McCarthy. And the stuff that Jim Harbaugh is saying, he's not just making it up. He's very smart. He's accurate. And these are the things that NFL teams are going to love about J.J. 27-1 in his career. And then also, you have to take into account that he was in a run-heavy offense. And even though he wasn't able to show much as a thrower, when he did, he was very efficient. We're talking about somebody that completed 67% of his passes on 3rd down and 76% off of play action. These are things that translate to the next level. Now, the underlying question in the team that drafts J.J. McCarthy, the one question that they're going to have to ask themselves is Can you win with JJ, which I believe you can, but can he turn into a quarterback that you win because of? If he's able to do that, you're going to get a high-end starter with JJ.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that beat Alabama and looked really, really good in the national championship game when he had to make a certain amount of throws to move the chains here. And you're talking about percentages. Jordan, how about this? Under pressure, he was elite, completing 68% of his passes under pressure last season, the best among FBS quarterbacks. So when he feels that pressure, and I know Mel's talked about it, not a lot of throws late in games. When he does feel that pressure, he does complete 68% of those passes. All right, so we've gone through the consensus top 4, but there's a few other names we could see go in round 2, or perhaps even sneaking into the back end of round 1. First, let's take a look at Oregon's Bo Nix, who started his career at Auburn.
My dad's name is Patrick Nix, and he played quarterback at Auburn University. Growing up, he was my role model, and he was the reason I wanted to play football at Auburn. So following in my dad's footsteps, I felt like I put a little bit too much pressure on myself, and, at times maybe I was pressing a little bit too much. I was a junior, and unfortunately I broke my ankle and was out for the rest of the season, and that's when I kind of understood that it was time for me to make a change. I was fortunate enough to have a school like Oregon reach out and want me to come over there and play. I was able to spend 2 really great years at Oregon and, really find my joy and my excitement again and go out there and just play free and play fast and just really have a good time.
Played free and fast. Nix was a different quarterback when he left the Plains for Eugene. Mel, what's the scouting report say about the Oregon quarterback?
Yeah, he had his moments at Auburn. The LSU game made a tremendous play on 4th down near the sidelines. But at Oregon, he did take his game to a new level. And certainly the system helped him, okay? He got confidence early, got in a rhythm early. Short passes, then it hit Troy Franklin down the field. Had a lot of talent around him. He had Jackson Powers Johnson anchoring that line. Good running game as well, led by Bucky Irving. He didn't turn it over. He was good in the 4th quarter, really good. 82% good. 4 touchdowns, no picks. I think the comp would be kind of Drew Brees-like. I say Drew Brees-like because Drew was a first pick in the 2nd round. Why? Because he was 6'1", but he had an average arm, right? Okay? But he was precise. He was accurate. He was smart. Bo Nix, same type of way. Doesn't have the great arm strength. Completed a high percentage of his passes. He's 24 years of age. Professional in every way. And guess what? Bo Nix can beat you with his legs. 20 rushing touchdowns the last 2 years at Oregon, okay? Drew Brees had over 600 rushing yards his final year at Purdue, 6 rushing touchdowns. Hand size exactly the same. They're both 215 pounds, and Bo's an 1.5 inches taller. So, hey, if Sean Payton sees a little, Drew Brees and Bo Nix, maybe Denver makes a play for him. But Bo Nix, to me, put himself in a position, guys, to be a borderline first-round pick.
All right, now, Denver picks at number 12 right now. Shefty, we've seen Nix as high as the teens in some mocks, especially when you look at teams sitting there at 11, 12, and 13 who need quarterbacks. We could also see a potential fall if he gets past the teens. What do you see as a good fit for him?
Listen, again, we go back to 11, 12, 13. Minnesota is looking for a mobile, smart quarterback. Bo Nix would fit that bill. You heard Mel describe Bo Nix in the way that he did, how he might relate to Sean Payton. And then the Las Vegas Raiders also looking for a quarterback. I come back to a couple of other places that I think are worth monitoring in the 1st round. The Los Angeles Rams, no guaranteed money in Matthew Stafford's contract next year after this season. Would the Rams consider taking a quarterback in round 1? With the Seattle Seahawks to a quarterback move as high as round 1? Again, they hired Ryan Grubb as their offensive coordinator. Ryan Grubb coached Michael Penix last year. But I think Bo Nix is looking at that window of teams there. If he doesn't get picked in that area, then I think there's the real chance that somebody at the back end of the 1st round always could trade in, get the quarterback with the extra year in his contract by taking him in the 1st round. Quarterbacks in the 1st round, 5 years, as opposed to a quarterback taken in the 2nd round, get 4-year contracts. So to me, somewhere in there, Nix could obviously sneak into the 1st round.
Yeah, you say a lot of great points, and you guys talked about some different fits for him. I think Denver is the most logical one for him, and Kuiper gets on us all the time about making these comps to future Hall of Famers, and he goes out and he gives Bo Nix a Drew Brees comp. But Drew Brees has had a lot of success with Sean Payton. That's why the correlation to Denver makes so much sense. You talk about somebody that is extremely accurate. He's very mobile, and he took the next step in his game over the past few years. This is a player what I like to call you have to clean your filters with, just because the player that we saw at Auburn is completely different from the Bo Nix that we saw at Oregon. And I think he could go somewhere in that top 15 range, but it would not surprise me if he does end up going a little bit later. But Denver is one team to definitely keep an eye on. Maybe not at 12. Maybe they try to slide back, get some extra draft capital just because they do lack some day 2 picks. But Denver is one team to definitely keep an eye on with Bo Nix.
I thought Shefty was going to jump in there, so I'll give you the floor in a moment here, Shefty. But I do have some Bo Nix thoughts to share with America, by the way. So I think one of the questions that Bo is going to have to answer, teams are probably asking about Bo, I'm not sure there's a way for him to answer this question, is that the system he played in Oregon was very quarterback-friendly in this regard. If you go back and look at air yards per attempt for each of the top 6 quarterback prospects that we will discuss on this show, Bo was at 6.26 air yards per attempt. 6.25, excuse me. The other 5 quarterbacks having were north of 9 air yards per attempt. Wow. That suggests a higher degree of difficulty. Now, Bo also set the single-season FBS completion percentage mark. It was 77.5%, rounded up to 78%. So there's no two ways about it. He's a very accurate quarterback. However, some of the throws that he was making were leaning more horizontally than they were vertically, which some NFL teams are trying to project how that fits at the NFL level as opposed to how it fit at the Oregon level.
So here's my question, Mel. You were talking about the fact that, again, Bo Nix later on in the draft, could he go in that 11, 12, 13 range? Is that too high in your opinion, Mel?
I thought a few weeks ago it wasn't, Adam, but when you talk to your friends in the NFL, they said, no, second-round grade, 12's too high. Maybe Denver, without a second-round pick, would trade down and look at Bo Nix. They have other options in terms of need areas. Quarterback they can't fool with, but I thought 12 was too high based on the conversations I had, Adam. So I would say yes. Teams would say reach, right? Hey, but if you love the guy, you take him. And they don't have a second-round pick. Maybe they don't want to move down. So depends upon, hey, individual team's preference. Hey, some people do like him, but that high, I think, would be stretching it just a bit.
That graphic really stood out where Phil was talking about those short screens, right? 34% behind the line of scrimmage.
He hasn't called the plays, Kevin.
Yes.
But still, it's a different, Michael Penix Jr. is like bombs away left and right, whereas Bo Nix is a lot more like looking to his left or looking to his right and making shorter area decisions.
And you can make the same case with Jane Daniels spreading the ball down the field and Caleb Williams down the field and Drake May down the field. Just a different mindset here. Nix thrived against the blitz, though. 18 passing touchdowns and no INTs.
Great processor. Elite processor.
Coming up, Michael Penix Jr. has one of the prettiest deep balls in this class. Will that mean he gets picked in the first round? Stay tuned to hear which team should be interested next.
I'm Daniel, the founder of Pretty Litter, the color-changing, health monitoring cat litter. Did you know that cats tend to hide symptoms of sickness and pain? I learned this the hard way after losing my cat, which drove me to create this. By working with scientists and veterinarians, we were able to develop a new litter with color-changing technology to help you keep tabs on your cat's health. Built with advanced odor control, this litter keeps your home smelling fresher longer, so give it a try. Visit prettylitter.com today.
The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships. Where grace meets grit. Poise meets power, and perfection
There's almost no way you can't give that a perfect 10.
is an art.
Championship is going to go down.
The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships semifinals today on ESPN2 and ESPN+. Where grace meets grit.
Championship is going to go down right now.
And perfection is an art. The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships semifinals today on ESPN2 and ESPN+.
These players are going to play hard-nosed, intense football.
Rule changes, innovation.
1, 2, 3. They're going to ball out.
Every moment is a moment for greatness.
The United Football League, all season long on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+.
Welcome to the best seat in your house. Your players, Your teams, your ball game. All season long. Welcome to Major League Baseball on ESPN Plus. Sign up now.
I am unapologetically Colby at all moments.
Here's me here. It's okay, I'm small.
I'm trying out for Texas Tech Code again to hopefully stay on the team.
He finds a crowd. Do I see you on the sidelines?
You're gonna see a girl do a handstand on top of me? No flips for Colby. First time I tried out, didn't make it. Bruce is gonna cut you in a nanosecond. I'm getting scared. Why are they talking so much? Making it onto the team again, we're feel it now.
It's done. We're back to a blank slate, clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup playoffs on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus.
The United Football League on ESPN.
These players are going to play hard-nosed, intense football, passionate football.
Do not let up.
Get on the ball! Set the tempo, let's go!
Rule changes, innovation.
Every possession, 1, 2, 3.
Every play matters.
They're going to ball out.
Wow! Every moment is a moment for greatness.
The United Football League. All season long on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus.
Here's where legends are born.
History maker!
Every match is a spectacle.
A celebration like no other.
A moment of his footballing life.
For the love of football, for the love of La Liga.
It's done. The goal of the year, part of the past. The celebrations, forgotten. The history. We're back to a blank slate, clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup playoffs begin Sunday on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus.
For the love of football, for the love of La Liga.
The NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships today on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus.
Here's where legends are born. Every match is a spectacle.
For the love of football, for the love of La Liga.
The Stanley Cup playoffs begin Sunday.
The NFL Draft begins Thursday, April 25th on ESPN and ABC.
Can't wait for Detroit. And that is 9 days away, the NFL Draft. Welcome back to this SportsCenter special presented by Nationwide. Now, Jordan Reed also has his own quarterback ranking called the QB Hot Board. It's the same 6 names, but with some notable differences within that group. Jordan has Caleb at the top. We all agree. He also, though, is sitting on that island, Drake May Island. He has May at number 2 over Jaden Daniels, and then he has the national runner-up, Michael Penix Jr., listed ahead of Bo Nix as his 5th ranked quarterback. Jordan, let's bring it back here. Why do you have Penix Jr. ahead of Bo Nix on that hot board?
Well, Kevin, it's just the combination of everything that I'm getting with Michael Penix Jr. I love the arm strength. I love the accuracy down the field. And he's one of those players that I believe has some mobility. He just wasn't able to display it a whole lot in that Washington offense just because he didn't have to. You've seen him throw bombs down the field to Jalen McMillan, Romo Dunze, Jalen Pope, 3 receivers that are going to be highly drafted in this draft class. He only showed his mobility when he had to. And that's credit to Washington's offensive line and then also the receivers. But Michael Penix Jr. has more mobility than he's given credit for. But the big question with him is, can he stay healthy? He has shown that he's been able to do that over the past 2 seasons after suffering 4 season-ending injuries in consecutive seasons.
Shefty, that's a big storyline here because if he doesn't have the medicals, he's potentially a top 5 quarterback considering, I should say top 5 pick considering the talent with that arm. He's one of those guys, though, he has a potential for a variety of landing spots here. Could he end up as a late first-round pick?
Oh, I think absolutely he could. And in fact, I think we start talking about him potentially as early as number 13 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Mel, can you see that Al Davis would have loved this pick with the type of long ball that Michael Penix Jr. throws? He would have been a perfect Raider for Al Davis, and still perhaps now could be a Raider. You look at the Raiders. I mentioned Seattle and the fact that the Seahawks offensive coordinator is Ryan Grubb. There will be teams, I think, that are interested in Penix coming back into the first round potentially if they miss out on a quarterback. And I think with all the teams that have an interest in quarterback, I think it would be a major upset if there were not 5 picked. And I think there's a real possibility that all 6 of these quarterbacks will wind up as first-round draft picks next week in Detroit.
All right, so just a reminder, my final mock draft debuts the day of round 1. Shefty, I'll have you maybe around noon on Wednesday. The two of us can hammer out how those 32 picks are going to go and where those quarterbacks might fit, because your intel is obviously unparalleled. I think with Michael Penix Jr., part of it is going to be the tantalizing upside that he brings to the table. And I think about a game this past season that was not quite for all the marbles, but darn close, against the University of Texas, and one of the most impressive performances from any player that I scouted this entire college football season last year. One of the big questions you heard in regards to Michael Penix Jr. is how does he handle pressure? Now, Michigan got to him a little bit more in the championship game than Texas was able to, but Michael Penix Jr.'s in-pocket navigation during that game was borderline flawless, Kevin. It was a big game, massive circumstances, and all he did was meet the mark every single time that Texas tried to confuse him or bring pressure. He was dropping pearls down the field, left and right. It was one of the best performances from any player this past season, and the kind of game that if you're an NFL team that is debating how high is his ceiling, you go put on that tape against the University of Texas and you say, this guy can help us win a ton of football games with that rocket launcher left arm.
Phil, to your point, put on that first game against Oregon. My goodness, it was fantastic how he finished that game, making big throw after big throw. Mel, let's go the other way. What questions do you have about Penix Jr.?
Yeah, we'll get to that. I got to go to Adam. The Oakland Raiders, the LA Raiders, and now Las Vegas Raiders, right? Al Davis had Kenny Stabler, the Snake, phenomenal quarterback. David Hum, left-hander, came out of Nebraska. So you have one left-handed quarterback, it's Tua. Now we'll have Michael Penix Jr. And the Raiders, as you said, with the Snake, Kenny Stabler and David Hum have gone that route before. But to Michael Penix Jr., the guys talked about the injuries, but it's the off-platform. He is athletic. He did run 4.58. But off-platform's not his game. He's going to put pressure on that line for that reason and the injury issue. The offensive line at Washington had Troy Fautanu, Roger Rosengart. They had all those receivers. They had a couple guys like Jack Westover and Devin Colts. Had 5 receiving antics, and Dylan Johnson running the football very effectively. So when you look at Michael Penix Jr., keep the pocket clean, keep defenders off of, because he has been, I would say, fragile, but injury-prone at Indiana, not Washington. And if you can do that in the right situation, he could be a winning quarterback in the NFL.
Put up some monster numbers in Grubb's system. The first FBS player with 4,500 passing yards in consecutive seasons since... There's a theme here. Patrick Mahomes.
You did it again, Kevin. That's a fact.
To the special quarterback in Kansas City. You always don't hit on the first-round quarterbacks the Chiefs did. Who could be the next Tom Brady, though? Or Dak Prescott? Or Jalen Hurts? Or Brock Purdy? The guys have some sleepers you do not want to miss.
Play hard-nosed, intense football.
Rule changes, innovation.
1, 2, 3. They're gonna ball out.
Every moment is a moment for greatness.
The United Football League, all season long on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+.
Welcome to the best seat in your house. Your players, your teams, your ball game. All season long. Welcome to Major League Baseball on ESPN+. Sign up now.
It's done. The goal of the year, part of the past. The celebrations, forgotten. The history. We're back to a blank slate, clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup playoffs begin Sunday on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+. It's done. We're back to a blank slate, clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup playoffs on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+. Here's where legends are born.
History maker!
Every match is a spectacle.
A celebration like no other. A moment of his footballing life.
For the love of football, for the love of La Liga.
I am unapologetically Colby at all moments.
Here's the medium. It's okay, I'm the small.
I'm trying out for Text Tech Code again to hopefully stay on the team.
He finds a crowd. Do I see you on the sidelines?
Do you want to see a girl do a handstand on top of me? No flips for Colby. First time I tried out, didn't make it. Bruce is gonna cut you in a nanosecond. I'm getting scared. Why are they talking so much? Making it onto the team again would be over now.
The United Football League on ESPN.
These players are going to play hard-nosed, intense football, passionate football.
Do not let up.
Get on the ball! Set the tempo, let's go!
Rule changes, innovation.
Every possession, 1, 2, 3.
Every play matters.
They're going to ball out.
Wow!
Every moment is a moment for greatness.
The United Football League. All season long on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN+.
The Stanley Cup playoffs begin Sunday.
Here's where legends are born. Every match is a spectacle. For the love of football, for the love of La Liga.
Continue to break down the quarterbacks here. 9 days away from the NFL draft. We've seen some very successful day 3 picks at the quarterback position through the years. Look at Brock Purdy, selected with the very last pick in 2022. Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins have had long and successful careers. And there once was a guy named Tom Brady, drafted in the 6th round.
You sure he's that good, Kevin?
Yeah, there's been some documentaries about him and Super Bowl victories. Let's go back to that 2000 draft and listen to Mel's analysis of pick 199.
Accurate. It was a very catchable ball. He really knows when to take a little off as well. And that's the key. And he stands in that pocket very tough. Don't take a hit. Question's going to be mobility. Only runs a 5.2, 5.40. And of course, when you have those edge pass rushers, you have to avoid the initial defensive end, the initial pass rusher. Can he do that at the pro level? Can he overcome that lack of mobility?
First off, Hall of Fame hair. And Hall of Fame breakdown. You nailed it there, Mel. That's impressive.
Great job. Well, we get lucky every once in a while. I know I did there. And thank you, TB12, with your 7 Super Bowl rings. I appreciate that. You made me look good. So the greatest ever did make me look good in the 6th round. A compensatory pick. Patriots took Antoine Harris, quarterback from Virginia, before they took Tom Brady in the 6th round. So how'd that work out?
You know what it was, Mel? That was the greatest ever, drawing inspiration from the greatest ever as well. As, of course, this industry is what it is because
that's goat-on-goat breakdown.
Yes.
Phenomenal. Let's go through some potential sleepers here who could go maybe day 2, day 3 here, Mel. And let's start with Spencer Rattler.
You never put me in the same sentence with Tom Brady. But in terms of, but thank you guys, I appreciate it. But in terms of Spencer Rattler, the Rattler at Oklahoma and South Carolina, there were times like you thought maybe 1st round, 2nd round, inconsistent decision making. He had Xavier Legette. It hit him this year. And say, wow, I'm going to move him into the 2nd round. Then some head scratching throws. I think he settles into that 3rd, 4th round area. But he is QB7 behind the Elite 6. We know who they are. Spencer Rattler is 7th highest rated quarterback in this draft, Jordan.
I'm going to go with Jordan Travis of Florida State, a player that I thought showed a lot of growth last year. He unfortunately suffered that gruesome ankle injury in the North Alabama game. But you talk about somebody that had 2,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions last year. He had 18 career games with both a rushing and a passing touchdown. Having met Jordan throughout the process, he's somebody that's just an infectious leader.
All right, so late in the draft, you're looking for dart throws. I think that Keaton Slovis represents exactly that. He was at 3 schools during his college career, but don't forget, as a true freshman, he took over that starting job at USC and was balling out for the Trojans. He eventually landed a pick for just a season before finishing up at BYU. Kevin got a live arm. He's a loose athlete. He's got some mobility as well. I think Keaton Slovis is a reasonable late day 3 dart throw for a team that has some time to develop a quarterback.
Yeah, to your point, Slovis in that freshman year at USC had about 30 touchdown passes, and he turned a lot of heads. We will see how this plays out potentially day 3 with Slovis as one of those picks here. All right, this has been fun. For Field Gage, Jordan Reed, Mel Kiper Jr., and Adam Schefter, I'm Kevin Agani. We're going to see you next Tuesday with our 32-team NFL Nation mock draft.